Okay, so um, I'm going to go ahead and have you open up Photoshop first. And then go ahead and open up Pixel Creator Pro. Or what is it that you have? You have Pixel Creator Pro or? Yeah. Okay, go ahead and open that up. Yep, go ahead and open up Bridge. Let's just click here and go to Computer. And right here. Okay, yeah, see, okay, so here are all your individual PSD files. Okay, and what you did is you compiled them into the PDF. Okay, so what we need to do is I'm just going to select all of these and we'll just copy them. And then we want to go to, so where do I know I need to go here, and then where do I go from here? Okay. Katie and Sean. So yeah, we're gonna do completed album pages. Something like that. And then we'll open that up. And then we'll right click and choose paste. And it's going to take a little bit. What's that? Well, hope we don't lose our connection. So it's going to take a minute. So I'm not real sure how you got these individual PSD files into a PDF file. I'm guessing that's something that you did yourselves. Okay, when we make our edits, we want these individual files, because what that will do is that will give us every single layer that was in the original. And not only that, but it'll give us every single layer style. If you talk about the spread number 9, the first one that we're going to edit, that image of the couple has a little white stroke, a little bit of a drop shadow, and so forth. So if we want to keep that look, by having the original file, we'll have the original layer style that they created for that particular effect. That we can just very easily copy to a new layer, because we're going to add more images to that page. So we might want to copy that same layer style to those other images as well. We don't have to, but if that's what you want to do, then we have that option. So we'll go ahead and let it finish copying over the individual files. And we'll go back over here to Bridge while it's doing that. And you can see the completed album pages folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and right-click on that and choose the Add to Favorites option. So we're just creating a shortcut to the completed album page and the swap files so we can go back and forth. And this I will just leave for now. We'll just come in here. So there's 16 pages to this layout, so we'll go ahead and wait for it to open up here, all 16 pages. We will when we open up the file. It's the layout is definitely square. I can tell that just by looking at it. So it's either, I would guess it to be an 8x8, but we'll find out here in a second. It's always, just for future reference, if you ever do any design work from scratch yourself, it's always good to, especially when you're designing in the square format, always good to design as a 10 by 10, no matter, even if you tend to get a 5 by 5 book or an 8 by 8 book, always design it as a 10 by 10. And the reason I recommend that is because if you ever want to make that album, they may order an 8 by 8, but who knows, down the road they may say, you know what, we want an exact duplicate, but be a 10 by 10. It's always easier down than up. Yeah. So it's always good to, no matter what format you're going with, make it as big as you can. All right, so we got all the pages copied now. So now we can go ahead and open up spread number 9 here in Photoshop. So I'll just choose Open with Photoshop. And then we'll see what we have here. Okay, so first things first is just little Photoshop stuff. Most of what we're going to be doing is just basic Photoshop knowledge. So first things first, you already have it, but you always want to double check to make sure this auto select is selected. And what that allows us to do is allows us to click on any layer here in the layout, and I'm going to let you do the bulk of the work, and click on that. So the first thing we want to do is on the right hand side, that large image on the bottom, go ahead and just click on it. Is your computer froze up? Hello? Hello? Hello?
You will no longer hear beeps until someone else joins the conference.
Hello? Well, no. The short answer is no. I'm a little surprised that Pixel Creator Pro worked at all with CS4 because it was not designed for that. Were you using Leopard? Were you using Leopard previously? Hmm.
That's been working fine for the last 18 months or however long I've had it, including the upgrades that up, so that was all fine. It's just since I did the lineup thing today, now I'm willing to work.
What is it? What is it doing?
If I create a new, I'm just open up a page here and then, what I've been doing is creating, let's say I'm trying to create an aperture, and then I click on this and I say add aperture. Then I get an error message which says Pixel Creator Pro dash Mac colon add aperture is not available. That's all it says.
What does it say? Pixel Creator Pro dash Mac what?
Mac, then it says colon add ADD aperture is not available. So add, I tried to add an aperture and it just simply says it's not available.
Hmm. Well, no, I don't have.
Sort of very awkward because I'm in the middle of doing an album on a deadline. Also should have maybe, there's always a risk of when you have an upgrade the operating system, something that might work.
Well, I don't think it would have anything to do with the operating system, only because, Pixel Creator Pro just operates with CS4 itself. Photoshop works with, the new Lion upgrade. I upgraded. I think it was yesterday, actually. And I've been using CS4 and 5 without, I did all my testing yesterday with the final release, and I haven't had any issues. That said, like I said, I'm a little surprised that it worked with CS4 at all because it was never, it was never designed for that. So, well, it was designed for initially. It was designed for CS3, and then. Of course, when CS4 came out, we had kind of a temporary patch because our Pixel Creator Pro 5 that supports CS4 um, wasn't fully finished.
My recollection, and you know far better than me, but my recollection was that the Pixel Creator 4 was acceptable with CS4, but if when I upgraded to CS5, which I also have on the computer by the way, that both systems have kept CS4 because of a couple of software programs that should never been upgraded to CS4, and also because Pixel Creator 4 was working fine with it.
Hmm.
So I thought from your website that you had to up your Pixel Creator 5 if you wanted to use CS5. But you're telling me that it shouldn't have worked with CS4 at all?
Well, it's not that it didn't work at all. Certain functions worked with CS4, but not every function worked with CS4. What we did is we kind of created a temporary patch for CS4, mainly so that the insert photo tool would function. And then, before we finished our version 5, which was built specifically for CS4. How long have you had Pixel Creator? Has it been...
I actually have purchased 2 copies of it from you from CS3. I've forgotten exactly, to be honest, I can't remember exactly the details of why I did it, but I ended up, and I've paid you a lot of money for it that way. And now I'm stuck with neither working, so
What is your email address?
well, I'm not sure which one you have, but it probably was my wedding email. Would have been Oliver at weddingloft.com. If it's not that, I can give you some alternatives.
Yeah, I don't. I do see some correspondence from you with that with that email address, but it was just about that how to make it work with CS5.
I'm not actually going to just pull it up now. I wrote to you in January 2009 about it's a former patch, I think. This is if you sent me something. This is a CS4 update patch that will fix the insert for the edge tools. That's what you wrote to me on the 21st of January 2009.
Yeah, that's that little patch I was telling you about that we kind of just put together temporarily. Um,
That's just looking back. Anyway, I mean, it goes back a ways. Anyway, now I'm in a state of paralysis, so it's like I could get this working.
I don't know that. I mean, I guess I've never attempted to use that function with CS4 and version 4.4. I guess I could do some testing and see if there's a workaround for it. Um, my only concern is that is it just that one function or is it other functions as well? But I doubt. Yeah, I doubt the operating system would have anything to do with it because I did all the testing with the Lion and there doesn't seem to be any issues. I mean, I'm using it, but I never tested version 4 with CS4. So I tested my version 4 with CS3 and CS2, and it works there. But I've never tested it. Yeah, even after the upgrade to Lion, but I never tested it with CS4.
Well, I mean, anything, I mean, to be very honest, I'm not sure if you'd be willing to do this, but since I haven't paid a lot of money for this for the past couple to 3 years, I was wondering if you'd consider then, an upgrade which doesn't cost me an arm and a leg to get this thing up and running, because, it's very frustrating for me not being able to use it.
Yeah, I mean, we did.
Your standard upgrade prices, I mean, I feel I'm paying a hell of a lot of money just to get the basic functionality which I should be paid for. Do you think I mean that's,
Hmm.
and I understand you run a business, but you can try and see it from that side. It's I probably spent $500-600, and now I can't use the program. That's a hell of a lot more than normally pays for software. I mean, any other software that costs me that is the good shop itself.
Right.
I mean, I found your program really useful, and I tend to do, you should find, as I see on your website, a ton of upgrades and all sorts of stuff. Most of which I don't do is I tend to design my own page layout using the aperture and the resize. I mean, that's for me, the most useful parts of the program I use the most. But I feel I'd be paying an awful lot. I really, very reluctant to pay an awful lot of money again.
Hmm.
I really feel I paid so much, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to letting me download whatever the current version is to see if I can get it working.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I said, I can do some testing with CS4 to see if I can make it work, um, and I can give you a call back tomorrow and let you know what I find out. Uh,
Obviously, that's a starting point, but in the absence of fixing it, would you consider letting me download the current version so that I can get back up and running?
well, I mean, we do have an upgrade, but I mean, I mean, it wouldn't be fair to all my wouldn't be fair to all my other customers if I just give it to you. I should.
All your customers haven't spent $600 on that for something which doesn't work. I mean, that's still, I'm assuming most of your customers.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
And I actually got a lot of calls like this.
right? No, I haven't had any calls as it relates to Lion yet, but to be fair, I mean, you have been using the program just fine for 2 years, so it's not. It's
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But
yeah.
it shouldn't have a material lifespan. You know what I mean? if you can send me a patch or something that will allow me to use the program, then I have no problem. If I can't get it 3 years, then it's like saying, I paid $600 and I've got nothing now to show for it.
Right, but it's
That's useless to me, but I paid for that big time.
right. But
I paid you twice, essentially, for the program.
right, and Oliver, I don't have that record here in front of me of what you paid, when you paid it, and so forth. But I mean, I could certainly research it. But I guess what I'm saying is if you order, a plugin that was designed for Photoshop 6, it's not realistic to expect it to work with CS5. Without paying for some type of upgrade, and that's kind of where we're at. Yeah. Well, I understand that. But I'm just saying that plugin that you bought 3 years ago or whenever you initially purchased it, yeah, it was never designed to work with CS4 because CS4 didn't exist at the time. And that one function, yes, the insert photo function and the photo edge function, yes. That much is true, but that's not what we're talking about not working. Okay. All right. Well, let me
I do understand your position, but I hope you can understand mine.
well, yeah, I mean,
$600 and not be able to use the program. I don't know anybody who would, there's no software company out there that would allow that to sort of happen and send away a very unhappy customer.
well, I'm not sending you away. I guess the one solution that you have is to use it with CS3 because we know it'll work with CS3. Okay. Well.
So, it's been working fine for 18 months with the configuration I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, there's clearly something that has happened as a result of this upgrade. It was working fine 2 days ago. Now today I get mine and it doesn't work. And I get all these other messages. So, whatever the reason, I'm now stuck without a program. And I'm hoping that, I'm sure that your other customers, it's not you think I'm being unfair to them, but if they've got a working program, I haven't. That's unfair to me.
But on the same token, if we use your argument that the upgrade to Lion somehow caused it to quit functioning, if I tell you that if you upgrade to Pixel Creator Pro 5, it will work fine with CS4 and Lion, then it's really not fair to say, well, I've upgraded my computer and I've upgraded my operating system, so your old version of your software should work on my new computer and my new operating system. Usually that's not the case.
If you download other software programs, the vast majority of the ones that I have purchased, they send an update to make it compatible with Lion or with Snow Leopard as it was before. It's not something you even have to pay for. So that the idea that I have to buy the whole program all over again because of the Photoshop upgrade, that's pretty much unique to you.
Well, I would disagree with that.
That's unusual, put it that way.
I just did a Windows 64-bit update, and I've been using this piece of software. I'm 2 versions behind, but I've been using this piece of software for years with my Windows 64-bit, and there was a recent update that Windows did, and now that program doesn't work. And I called the company, and they said, well, yeah, there was a recent update. Only our newest version will work with that recent update. So I had no choice but to either upgrade or revert back to not using that update that Windows provided. So it's really a common, yeah, it's a,
It's unusual experience. Your program is the only program that I've had that experience. I've had innumerable others. I've got a lot of stuff on my computer, all that I upgraded without a problem. Again, because of the business that happened, that I haven't yet confronted all the changes to Lion because I only just got it.
mm-hmm.
That's how they handled it. It's unusual, but of course, if you're several versions, if you had a program designed for XP and it's Windows 7, then
Mhm.
I don't. And I just wondered if you would be good enough to consider, fixing it. What do I know? If you could find an explanation in some way, researching it that would help me get it working, I'd be very content. I don't know. I've made a real interest in upgrading it to CS5 because it's working with everything I need in CS4.
Okay.
At first it was, at least it used to do everything I need. Now it doesn't do it. So and the time was coincidence. I mean, it just happened to coincide exactly with the update line. So that's what makes me, I mean, it's a time association. I can't prove it, but it's a time association is very, very suggestive,
Okay.
I think.
All right. Well,
Would you be willing to look into it and then get back to me tomorrow? Let me know what you can do because, I think to ask me to give you another $250 just to get back up and running is pretty steep.
okay. Well, the only way I would suggest upgrading, the upgrade to 199. The only reason I would suggest to upgrade because I know that will fix your problem, but with that upgrade, the way the upgrade comes, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of new features in the new version and a lot of things that come with that upgrade. Some of which you may never use. It's entirely. Obviously that's. Yeah.
I would, if it could just upgrade to create a player load for all this money, that would be something which would be really much more appealing. But they have to buy a lot of stuff that they don't want and make that inflate the price. I mean, you can't take the first baby step, but what does it matter what else comes with it? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not very helpful. Anyway, if you can't give me a definitive answer now, then would you at least give me a call back tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. What I can tell you right now is, like I said, the upgrade's normally $199. I could do the upgrade for you for $99 and solve your problem, or I can not charge you anything and look into, if there's an issue with line that I'm not aware of, and get back to you.
Well, why don't we start with that first of all?
Okay.
Check if there's a problem. I mean, of course, and I didn't mean to, don't take this wrongly, but obviously you don't have an incentive to spend a lot of time on it. The alternative is they're going to pay you $100. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot easier to just tell me that there's no relationship and give me to pay another $100. But I mean, it's human nature, and I don't mean to, this is not personal, it's just
Right.
the way of the world, you understand?
Yep.
But I do hope you will take it seriously and look into it because, I've been an advocate of the program to colleagues of mine and I'd like to keep it that way.
All right. Well, all I can do is look into it a little bit more, and Lion just came out, so what may work fine on my computer, I may in the coming days get lots of phone calls. I don't know, but we'll.
I hope you don't, but as you're well aware of strange creatures, I mean, they're idiosyncratic, you never know quite how they behave, but they're not always 100% predictable, and that's leaving me compatibility issues and so on can arise. It just doesn't take much to throw something off. One digit out of place can wreck the whole
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what makes it tricky. But anyway, I mean, as I see on your website, unlimited free live phone tech support. I hope the tech support goes to the level of actually getting the program up and running again.
Okay. Well, I will check it out, and I'll get back with you tomorrow.
Phone number, can I get your phone number?
Okay.
I give you, if you can use this one, so 703-780-2820.
All right.
Name is out for me, and I can give cell number too, in case for any reason I'm 703-403-7853.
Okay.
And I really appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Tamara.
Yeah,
Kevin with Pixel Creator.
we had a big lightning hit and lost power for a couple minutes.
I wondered if maybe you could, you lost, disconnected on the phone and on the computer, and then I tried calling you back and got a voicemail, and I thought, well, maybe they lost power, and then the phone rang, and I saw it was a 770 prefix, so I thought it was you calling me back, and
I called from the studio and from myself.
yeah, what actually happened was it was another customer, and he was none too happy. So I tried to get rid of him as quickly as I could because I saw you call it in, but that happens.
You want me to go back on into the same meeting number?
Yeah, the meeting number is 614.
808-744?
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. 1 second.
Yeah, they just they're on a Mac computer and they just upgraded to the new Mac operating system, and their old version of Pixel Creator Pro won't work with the new operating. And I said, the only solution is to upgrade to the new version, which doesn't have a conflict. And he thinks that he bought his version of Pixel Creator Pro 4 years ago. He thinks it should work with the latest operating system, and not have to pay an upgrade. And I was like, well, I said, I can tell you, I'm dealing with a software company who I paid $400 for their software, and I'm 2 versions behind. So I'm behind their current version, but not that far behind. And I only bought this about a year and a half ago, and there was a recent update on the 64-bit, and that their program does not work anymore. And their only solution is to spend $200 for an upgrade, which I guess I'll have to do. But it kind of frustrates me that they won't fix the problem with the version I have. The only solution is to upgrade. So I feel the guy's pain, but I told him, I said, how long is a piece of, if they come out with Photoshop CS12, am I supposed to keep upgrading something you bought 15 years ago to work with the latest version of Photoshop? At what point do you cut the line, So he wasn't too happy. I tried to give him a 50% discount on the upgrade, and he wasn't taking that. So I was like, well, I'll have to get back to you tomorrow. Yeah, I thought so, but he didn't think so. Okay, we'll go ahead and have you click on the Show My Screen button again. All right, so we're back to where we were. It looks like you lost your Photoshop and everything being open, huh?
Yeah, everything. You want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead and open up Photoshop and Pixel Creator and Bridge. And it doesn't matter which order you open those. So that's not a big deal.
Okay. Now we're back to spread 9.
Okay, let's go ahead and open up Spread 9. So just go ahead and double click on it. All right, so first things first, as I was saying earlier, we'll switch to our Move tool in Photoshop.
I'm sorry, the what tool?
The Move tool, you can just hit the letter V on your keyboard. That'll get you the Move tool as well. And in the upper right-hand corner of Photoshop, do you see where it says Auto Select and that little button is checked?
Yeah.
And when we're doing album design, we just want to make sure that option is checked, which it is. And so what we're going to do is, if you look over on in your layers palette, do you see what layer is currently selected? It's the very topmost layer, which is the small image of the bride and groom, right? So, right. So what we're going to do is rather than get in the habit of clicking in our layers palette, let's click in the document itself. So go ahead and click in the document itself that background image. So just go ahead and click on it. The image itself, but the large one and the large one in the back though. I don't think you're clicking on it. No, that's not the one. We want to click on the large one in the back. There you go. Now you'll notice that over in the layers palette, it automatically jumped to that layer. And that's because we have that auto select option chosen. Now, that image we want to take out of this layout entirely, correct? What I would recommend doing, rather than simply just deleting that layer, let's just turn the visibility of that layer off. Do you see the little eyeball to the left of that image? Not that one. Not that one. Yeah, not that one. The eyeball, we turned the eyeball off where the blue layer was selected. So that image is still there. If we ever wanted it again, it's just invisible. Yeah. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and take the image and position it on the page where we want it. Now the next, all right, so here's what we're going to do, and this is important. This is a little Photoshop tip that's important for you to know. Go ahead and do your free transform, which is Control-T. T as in Tom. So now you've got your transformation handles, right? Now, if you look up in the options bar, and the options bar is that bar that's just below all of your drop-down menus. Do you see that options bar up there? Right below, see where it says View? The drop-down menu View, and then right below View, do you see where it says 100%? Okay, that's what we call an options bar. That bar will change with various different options depending on the tool that we have currently selected. If you remember, when we had the Move tool selected, we had the option to auto-select layer. Now, when we have our free transform command, we have options that involve resizing this image. So here's what I want you to do. First things first, if you hold down your Shift key and pull this image, if we don't want to change the proportion of the image opening, we just want to change its size, we'll hold the Shift key down, but see what happens? What you're doing is you're changing the proportions of the image opening. Now, if you didn't want to change the proportions, if you drag from a corner, so let's do this. Go ahead and make it as big as you want for right now. Is that how big you want it approximately? Yeah. Okay. Now, if you look in the options bar, do you see how much? You see the width and height? You see where it went to 160? Okay. So here's the point I wanted to make. When you're making your edits, if you're going to resize your images up, and that number is only 120 or below, it's really subjective to what you want. But as a general rule, what I do is if I'm resizing images, if I'm only resizing up 20%, I won't reset this image. But because you made it 160, that's quite a bit different. And the width is a different proportion than the height. See, the height is what, 160.05, and the width is 160.15. If you click on that little link between those two in the options bar, go ahead and click on that little link right in between the two. No, in between the width and height. See this little link? No, to right there. Notice what that did? It changed the width and height to be exactly the same. So now we didn't change the proportions of the image opening from what we had. We just changed the image size. So if we're happy with that, go ahead and hit enter. Well, if you hold your shift key down and pull from one of the... Right. Right. So, so that image has been resized up 60% bigger, and therefore we should replace that image. And what we're doing in replacing that image is we are going back to the original high-res image, and we're going to resize it down to the new window size. Whereas before, what we essentially did is we had a small window. We took a large image, shrunk it down to a small window, and then turned around and enlarged it again. So when you do that process, you're going to lose image quality. It may look okay on the screen, but when you get it printed, it may appear a little fuzzy, and so forth, or pixelated. So we want to just reset that image. So if you go to Layout Tools in Pixel Creator Pro, so go down to the Pixel Creator Pro toolbar. See where it says Layout Tools? Okay. Now we have that image selected, so let's just choose Swap Selected Image. Now, okay, and then you can position it. You want to use your arrow keys to lower it down, or you can just drag it with your mouse. Now you see you drag it too far, and the image is going to get smaller. So you don't want to pull from the edge, because now you're see what you're doing. Yep. Just go back to hitting this link in between here. Okay. Now you see where the transformation handles are. Let me just move this back into position. Now you don't move your mouse. I'm going to move it. So we have these transformation handles. So what I was suggesting is rather because of this, what we want to do is we just want to use our arrow keys, because we can control. We're just moving it basically like a pixel at a time. And you can decide, we don't have, like, his head is cropped right at the top of that image. So, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to move it like way down here, because see, as we move it down, the image opening gets smaller and smaller because there's nothing to show. So, and we want the image opening to be what it was, but we want the crop to be, however you want it. So we'll go ahead and hit return, and then that image has now been reset. So you should have a nice quality image when you go to print. Now, how many other images are we adding in total?
Okay, we are adding 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll diagram here. Apparently she wants to put on the top box, I have different numbers.
Okay. All right. So, right. Okay. So here's what I would recommend doing. Um, is if we click on our background layer, and then I come over here to Quick Guides, and I'm going to do a vertical guideline. And all that does is create a guideline directly in the middle of our spread. And then I'm going to make a selection, and by default, when you make a selection in Photoshop, the selection will snap to your guideline by default. So I don't know why. Are you moving your mouse or no? Okay. No, I don't know what's happening. Okay. And I think I think I'm going to have all this recorded for you. So what I just did there is I selected the entire right-hand side of the canvas with my marquee tool. You see that? And what I can do is I can click on, we still have our quick guides up. Because I have a... Pardon? We can save it. We'll just call it 9A. So we don't overwrite the original, just in case we ever had to go back to it. All right. So I have the entire right-hand side of the document selected, and when I have a selection present, if I click on any of these quick guides, like if I do a vertical quick guide, see what it did? It created a guideline vertical guideline, directly dead center of my current selection. Now I'm going to just clear out my guidelines for a moment, and I'm going to deselect so I don't have nothing selected. Switch to my move tool. Now I have my image selected, and if I hit my quick guides and hit vertical, now it shows me the dead center of my image. So these are actually quite useful. So going back, we're going to go back to our background layer, and we're going to hit vertical. So now we have exactly dead center of our spread. Then we're going to switch to our marquee tool, and we're going to select the entire right-hand side again. Something weird's happening here. Keep saying you have controls for some reason.
I don't know why. You want me to use your keyboard and mouse?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to move my mouse and I don't see it being able to move.
Let me try that again. Because up at the very top in the right, it says use keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
That's what I put. And I'm clicking your name. Okay, now it says you have control.
Okay, so we'll try this again. So I'm going to click background, hit vertical. I'm in my marquee tool. I'm going to make a selection. There we go. I'm going to hit vertical again, and I'm going to hit horizontal. So what I've done is I've defined where dead center is, and then we can, what I would do probably is take the image, and it's purely subjective, but what I would do is center this image into the dead center of that spread. And And again, that's purely subjective. Now, when I do that, when I hit free transform, see how this image extends beyond the bottom of my image opening? There's a function in Pixel Creator where we can come up here to Layout Tools and choose Apply Layer Mask. And what that does is it crops away. I'm gonna go ahead and hit Free Transform again. It crops away that excess image. So see now the transformation handles are right to the size of our image opening. Because now you can see this image, because how much it's hung over on the bottom is not perfectly centered on our guideline. So if I pull it down a little bit, you'll feel it kind of snap into place, and now that image is perfectly centered in our page. And that's where we wanted our guidelines. Now, because we're doing 3 on the left and 2 on the right, what I would suggest is you have a couple of options. And this may seem way too technical, but the reality is if you want to produce a really nice album, this is just stuff you got to know. It's no more technical than, you know, all of your lighting setups and all that stuff that you have to know to produce a good photograph. You know, you've got to know that technical stuff. And when it comes to album design, it's kind of the same way. So what I would suggest is one of two things. Me personally, I would suggest that these images that we're going to add to the left and right not bleed over the top of the center image, nor do I think the center image should be on top of the images on the left and right. You follow me so far? Hello. Well, what I would do is this. I would come to our guide. So I have my image selected. You can see that I'm on my image layer, and I would come to my guide tool, and it's going to open up. And what we're going to do is on the left side of my image, I'm going to add a guideline, -0.125, and on the right, we're going to do -0.125. Now, the reason that we're adding a negative, and let me go ahead and process this so you can see what's actually going to happen. So I'm going to hit process. Now, can you see what's happened? We have our image, and to the left, we have a new guideline exactly 1/8 inch away, and on the right, we have a new guideline exactly 1/8 inch away. Okay, so that's our starting point. Now, the next thing I want to do is we can switch to our marquee selection tool, and I'm just going to make a selection. Again, this is purely subjective, but let me come back up here and make another selection. Every time I go to make a selection, it wants to give control to you. Okay, so what I've done is I've made a selection here. What I would propose is that we use the Quick Divide tool. Let me change my foreground color to something. Doesn't matter what it is. But what I would propose is using the Quick Divide tool. And what we're going to do, you know, we only have so much room to work with, but we'll go ahead and choose Quick Divide. There it is. So we're going to divide vertically by 3 image openings, and we're going to use a spacing of 0.125. Now, earlier when we did the guidelines, we entered a negative, and the reason the reason that we entered a negative value is because we wanted the guidelines to the outside of our image. If we entered a positive value, then the guidelines would have been to the inside of our image, exactly 1/8 of an inch. So in this case, we're going to do vertical divisions by 3, 1/8 of an inch. We're going to create image layers. We're not going to do anything horizontally, and we're simply going to hit divide. And Pixel Creator Pro creates this 3 image openings to the left of that image. So the spacing between these image openings is the same as the spacing that we had away from that image. Now, right now we can determine what I would do then is to take 2 of these openings that you can see I have 2 of them selected. If I hold down my Alt key, I can click and drag, and I'm just copying it over, and it'll snap to those guidelines. So this 1/8 of an inch guideline that we created is going to snap right to it. Now to finish this middle image layer, let me go ahead and clear out my guidelines so it makes a little bit more sense now. This middle image layer has this little bit of a white stroke with a little bit of a drop shadow. These all have just a red stroke. So what I would do is we could come into Pixel Creator. If you want to use Pixel Creator for this, we can hit Layout, Layer Styles, Copy Layer Style. Okay, that's going to copy the layer style of the current layer. And then with my Move tool, if I just click and drag over these 3 image layers here, if you look at my layers palette, you see how they're selected? If I hold down my Shift key and I click and drag over these 2, notice how those 2 are added to the selection. Now I have 2 choices. I could come into Pixel Creator and choose Paste Layer Style, and it would paste that layer style to all those layers. Or if I'm right here in Photoshop, I could just right-click on any one of the highlighted layers, just right-click, and choose Paste. Does the exact same thing. So there's a Photoshop way and a Pixel Creator way, and now you can see those red strokes have all changed to the same layer style. Now it's just a matter of selecting the image opening where we want to populate an image. So we'll start here at the top left, and then we'll come into Bridge, and we'll come into our swap files. And which number did she want?
2305608.
So we'll start there, and we'll hit Insert Photo. And what you're going to find out in a real big hurry is, and this one may be a good example, it may not. The client may say, hey, I want these images in this spot. Now this image works fine, but if you look at these image openings, they're more or less square, right? And that's just because of the space that we had to work with. If we had a portrait image where we wanted to show, a full-length shot like the bride and groom is, these image openings wouldn't work for that because they're not tall enough. And so while the client may say, I want 3 images here, it may be that the 3 images they want there aren't going to work in this format of an image opening with the space that we have allowed here. But let's go ahead. I think that looks pretty good, just the way it is. So we'll go ahead and drop that image in. And then what's the next one down?
2328721.
So we want 2, 3. Okay, right there. So again, we'll hit Insert Photo, and we'll go back into Photoshop. And I'm clicking on the little Photoshop icon on the taskbar and just kind of waiting for Pixel Creator to bring that image over and drop it into place for us. That looks good. And now, if we really want to get serious about it, we can select more than one image at a time and populate all 3. So I have 3 images selected. So if I come over to Bridge, what are the next 3 images?
Okay, the one ending in 678, which is in the middle top row,
Okay.
and 659,
Okay.
which is the one next to it, and then 643, which is the one next to that.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. When these images get populated, they're going to get populated in the order that they are. So they're going to get populated this 643, then 659, and then 678. Now back over here in Photoshop, the way Pixel Creator inserts images is based on the layer name. So this image on the left is image box 11. The image on the right, because we copied it over, we have image box 9 copy, which is the top one, and then image box 10 copy. So what's going to happen is 643 is going to be in the top right here. And so what my point is I don't worry about what image is going to go in what box at this point. I know I want those 3 images in this layout. So I've selected these 3 image layers. I went into Bridge. I selected my 3 images. I'm just going to hit Insert Photo now. And Pixel Creator one by one is just going to bring those images over. Now, if the image is where I want it to be, if that's the image I want to use, then I'll go ahead and make the adjustment of where I want the image placed. But for now, we won't. I'm just going to go ahead and hit return. So let me go ahead and do that. It'll automatically jump to the next one. And there's that one. And then it'll go to the next one. Now from here, this is where we'll determine if we wanted a specific image in a specific spot, we can move things around. So do we need to? Yep. Okay, so all I did, because we have that auto select option chosen, I just clicked on the one on the right. I hold my shift key down and click on the one on the left. And you can see that those 2 are selected. And then I come into Layout Tools and we'll just choose Swap Selected Images. And with any kind of luck, it should just flip-flop those 2. For some reason, your computer takes a little bit. I mean, it should happen almost instantly. I don't know why it hangs for a second. So it's a bit of a give and take. We could have just, selected one image layer, one image layer, one image, to populate all 3. We could have ordered those images in a specific order in Bridge just by dragging and dropping the image placements, and they would have, could have been populated in order that way as well. That swap image tool, I don't know why it hangs up on your computer. That's kind of strange. It seems like it does eventually do it, but take its own sweet time doing it. So, yeah, so first thing, yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll shift this one down a little bit. And we'll hit, that looks pretty good. And then it's going to take, and then it's got to populate the one on the right. So it'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, we'll have to adjust it. All right, so we'll hit return there. Now, we'll go ahead and click on this one at the top right. If we were going to do it the Photoshop way, we would just See, every image layer has a layer mask. And this link, if we move the image, the layer mask goes with it. If we unlink it, the layer mask doesn't move, but if I use my arrow keys, see how my image moves? My layer mask stays the same. So that's how you would do it if we were just using Photoshop. So we have to link and unlink layer masks. Now we want to, because we're done editing this image, we will want to link these two back together again. Now in Pixel Creator, if under Layout Tools, let's see here. Are you able to move your mouse? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it was hung up there. So under Layout Tools, we do have the Adjust Image Placement tool. And when I click on that, you notice what happens? That layer, the layer mask is unlinked. I get my transformation handles where I can use my arrow keys to position my image within the image opening the way I want to. And then when I hit return to accept the image placement, it relinks the layer mask for me. So we don't have to remember how to do that. But it is helpful to know this Photoshop stuff, so you kind of know what's happening. So that is new layout. I think that looks pretty nice. And when you print this out, one thing that you're going to see is that, and this is something that's dear to me. It may not be dear to anybody else, but the spacing between all the images on the right is all identical between the images. Everything's 1/8 of an inch. And the spacing between the center of the page and the edge of this image and the edge of this page and the edge of this image is identical, because we had all those guidelines to snap to. We don't know for sure. But just by the naked eye on the left here, it looks like this spacing is pretty close. In other words, the vertical spacing and the horizontal spacing, it looks to be pretty close. But they did it with Pixel Creator, so it probably is spot on. But I've seen a lot of albums where you have a layout like this, and the vertical spacing is different than the horizontal spacing, and just drives me crazy. But anyhow, I think that looks like a nice layout, so I saved that one. So we want to close that out. And what's the next spread that you need to modify?
Would be page 11, which is got a G in the left-hand corner. Okay, yeah, you see what says follow belong to
Yeah.
the name was misspelled, so they just want to delete that completely.
Okay. So we'll just click on that image layer and hit the little eyeball. That turns it off, and we're hitting the eyeball on the layer that's currently selected. Every layer has its own eyeball.
Now, do you think that I should move the two below it now that that one's gone over any, or we want to?
I like it just the way it is.
Okay, that makes it done.
All right, so we'll go ahead and save that. And because all we did was turn a layer off, I didn't make a duplicate file. So we're just overriding the existing file for page 11.
Okay, and then the next page,
We'll go ahead and close that one, all right?
which has got them dancing, I think it's page what, 12.
Yep.
You'll see a little girl standing there. The high chair.
All right, so this little girl here,
And just below her,
Yep.
and they want to replace that picture with either the one ending in 012 or 275. They don't care which.
Do you have a preference?
I don't see that one there.
275 is right here, and 012 is right there.
Okay, let's see. For 275. Let's just throw that one in there. 275. Just like for that one. So we would turn the left off of that one with the eyeball and put the other one on top of it.
Well, we could do that, but because we know we don't want this image, we're not going to modify the image opening. We're just gonna drop in a new image. So what we can do here is just we have that image layer selected. In Bridge, we have that 275 selected. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit Insert Photo. And it will take that image from Bridge and just remove the original image and drop in the new one. Now, we might cheat this image a little bit. I would anyhow. It's entirely up to you, but we have kind of this ugly ceiling. So if we pull from a corner, we could make the image a little bit bigger. Let's see here. And we get rid of some of that ugly ceiling, and then we just have a bigger image. And if you notice, when we made that change in the image size, up here in the options bar, see it says 112%. So that I didn't go over my 20% threshold. So I'm happy with that. So we'll just go ahead and hit enter, and then that image is in place there. So we'll go ahead and save this one. We're done with the edits on this page? All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close that out. We'll go back to Bridge. See, it's handy having these shortcuts because we can jump from folder to folder. Okay, so which is the next layout then, the 13? Okay. Well,
I don't know how they can get what they wanted to do was add the groom cake.
okay, let's take a look at the image that they want to add first of all.
Okay, they want to add it is probate 2, which is the bottom left.
Okay. Well, one thing we could try without modifying the layout too much is yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking for now we'll just kind of on this album. Do you know? Do we have any images that other than background images that would go beyond the theme of the album? Let's click on our background and let's do that quick guide to find out where center is. So there's center, okay? So what we could do for starters, we could do a couple of things. I would maybe take this image on the right here, and first things first, we could come into Layout Tools and choose Adjust Aperture. And what that, right, so what we'll do is we'll narrow this table up. That'll be our first step. And the next thing that we could do if we wanted to, and there's a lot of uninteresting stuff at the top, you know, above their heads there, we could make the image a little less tall. That's not really going to gain us much, but what I would suggest doing is going ahead and choosing Adjust Aperture again. Now, when you choose Adjust Aperture, we're going to modify our image opening, but I'm going to do it from the bottom. And this will make sense to you probably here in a second. So I'm going to pull the bottom up some, and I'm going to hit Enter. And then it immediately allows me to then reposition my image. So I'm going to go ahead and use my arrow keys to reposition my image. Now the reason that I pulled it up, yeah, the reason that I pulled it up from the bottom instead of pulling it down from the top was because I wanted to maintain that spacing that they already had. You know, the spacing from the top images is a set distance, and I didn't want to monkey with that. So now we've modified our image opening, but we have this image that we want to add with the groom's cake. So what I would do, because this isn't a particularly interesting image anyhow, is I would just go ahead and make it a bit smaller, so we gain a little bit more room. If I pull from the corner here, it maintains the proportion of my image, but now I've got a little bit more width for that image that we want to add. I kept the spacing. No. So then what we'll do here is we'll come in here, and we don't know what this spacing is between these images. When I design an album, I usually do an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, or 3/8 of an inch. Those are usually the three distances that I would use. But we can find out, and we can create some guidelines real easy for us. So we're going to start here at the top, right image, and we'll do a quick guide to the right. Or I'm sorry, I meant to the left. We didn't need the one on the right. So we need a quick guide to the left. So the spacing between these two images will be the same spacing between the bottom two images. And then I'm going to click on this bottom image and do a quick guide to the top. And so the spacing up here will be the exact same. So now when I make my selection for my groom's cake here, I'm just going to draw it out. We know that the center of the spread is here. So what I would do is I would go ahead and make this selection something about like so. And then when you have a selection made, we could choose Add Aperture, or you could just come right into Bridge, and we have that image selected, and just hit Insert Photo, and it'll create a new image layer for us because there is a selection present, and drop in our image. Now, here again, I would probably scale it up. So we're just going to move it up a little bit using our arrow keys rather than our mouse, just because it's easier to control. And then I might make it a pinch bigger. Don't want to crop off the cake, but they got a bunch of ugly stuff above their heads. So that takes care of that. But we do have one glaring problem too. We got an ugly red stroke, which we'll get rid of. So we need to get rid of that. And then we have one image that sticks out like a sore thumb because everything else has this nice black and white effect to it. So what we can do is we can see, Pixel Creator has some stuff in here. We'll do number 4 and see if we can mimic what they did. Now you can see this is obviously much brighter. And that's one of the drawbacks. Now what we can do is we can, this black and white effect is done with a curves adjustment layer as well as a channel mixer. So we'll open up this channel mixer and see if we can, just by moving these sliders, I don't know which way we got to go here. We'll get there. We just got to figure it out. Because it's more like almost like a sepia tone. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's try, because I don't know, they may have used some kind of special action.
Yeah, it's one my husband designed, and I think that they wanted the cake in color.
Oh, really? They want it in color. So okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. If you're happy with that, then we'll just leave it in color. None of the others have a layer style. Looks like. Let me just look here. Well, looks like there is a stroke around it. Let's see what the stroke is. It is a 2-pixel white stroke. Okay. I guess it's just not visible. So what we probably should do is copy that layer style and we'll paste it. So everything has the same layer style. So if they want that, then there we go. So I'll go ahead and we'll save those changes. All right.
Which is the next page.
So we were working on 13. Now we'll go to 14. All right.
She wants to add number 158 into 158 somewhere on this page. Probably over to the right of the 3 images. So we may have to make the one a 10 minutes a little bit smaller. To compensate for that, and then we can add a 4th one on that row.
All right. So let's go back, and the image we're adding is which one?
Yes. The one of her and her dad dancing.
This one right here. All right. So we need a portrait image, and we'll go back over here. So so you're thinking about adding it to this top row?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you think that would be all right.
Well, let's do this. I'm going to turn these 3 images off. So I'm going to just turn the visibility of each one of those off. Actually, I'm going to leave the visibility of one of them on for a moment. We'll do a quick guide to the top. It's just going to create us a guideline at the top. And then we'll go ahead and toggle it off. And then I'll take the image here on the left and do a quick guide to the left. And then we'll do a quick guide to the right on this one. And then we'll turn that one image on again because I need it to do a quick guide to the bottom. So now we have this little box defined, and what we want to try and do, we'll just see what it looks like, It looks to me that this spacing is roughly 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a selection and see how I snapped it to those guidelines, and we'll use this quick divide again. And this time we're going to divide horizontally by 4 with a 1/4 inch selection. We'll create image layers and hit divide. And in doing that, you can see that they're considerably more skinny than they were. Now, if we go back to, the image with the bride and groom, that's no problem. So we could go ahead and we'll just go ahead and insert that one into the first box. And then we'll just have to see how those other images work out. Sometimes what you have to do is, if this image is important, say, well, I want this image in lieu of one of those other ones that aren't as important. But if they're all important, and you want to keep the style of the design, you really don't have much choice because you only have the space that you have. So now what we need to do is, this image is 158. What we need to do is we need to locate, let's see here, what are we going to do here? We need to locate these other images. So this one here is, what is it, 0112. So where would that image be? But they would be in this folder somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back. We should be able to see we can pull out this layers palette if we need to get the whole file name. So it's Katie and Sean 0112. So if we go into Bridge 0112 right here. No. 0112. Okay, that's 0012. Close.
It should be her dad looking at her dancing.
Yeah, we're close.
There it is. So down 1, 2.
This one right here. So.
That one should be next, and then the one next to it is next.
Okay.
If you want to grab 13, 113 while you're there.
Yep.
And then the next one is the one all the way on the left on the next row. 115.
Okay.
That's the order.
So we'll go ahead and grab all of those and then go back into Photoshop here. And, they probably will work okay. We'll just select all 3 of these layers. I clicked on the first one. And I'll hold down my Shift key and click on the next 2. And that selects all 3 of them. And because this is 8, then 9, then 10, that's the order in which they'll be populated from left to right. So we'll hit Insert Photo. And then we'll see how these images set in here with the more slender image opening. So we'll just slide this image over a little bit with our arrow keys. And it's about as good as it gets. So we'll hit Return. And that looks pretty good, just like that, I think.
Yep.
And then we got one more to go. Oh, our palette's in the way. See this palette that I opened up when I was doing that adjustment earlier? There's an option here in Preferences that's pretty handy. So we'll come in here to Interface Preferences in Photoshop and choose Auto Collapse Iconic Panels. And so what happens is anytime we open up one of these panels, as soon as we click anywhere, they go away. Now, we need to make an adjustment to this last image that we placed. So we'll hit Layout Tools and choose Adjust Image Placement. And we'll wait for our transformation handles, and then we'll use our arrow keys to nudge it over to the right a little bit. And it's not a real significant part of the story, you know, with the girls there. So even though maybe it's not the perfect crop, it's okay. So then the only other thing to do to finish this up is get rid of these ugly red strokes. So we'll just take one of these ones on the bottom. There is some type of layer style, even though we can't see it, and that's indicated by this little FX. So I'll just copy the layer style, and then we'll come down here and select these 4 images. I just clicked on one, hold the Shift key, and click on the others. And then right-click on any highlighted layer and choose Paste Layer Style. And now those red strokes are gone. And that doesn't look too bad. So we'll go ahead and hit Save. So now we've completed all the edits that we were looking to complete. All right, so there is one final step. So now that we've completed all the edits, we never did look and see what size album we're dealing with here. Looks like they did a 10 by 10 album. So that's what the layout is for.
And that's what you wanted anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty typical. So I figured that's probably what they did. So we'll go back to our completed album pages. So there's one page in here, page 9 that we modified. We don't really need that page 9. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete it, get rid of it. Now, in order to have PictoBooks create this album for us, typically when you send your completed layouts to PictoBooks, do you send it as a PDF or do you send it as individual JPEG files? Individual JPEGs, right? Okay, that's what I thought. So we have a function in Pixel Creator that will do that for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 I'm just going to show you quickly how you would go about saving those flattened files using the Pixel Creator method. Under Utilities, there's a Prep for Print function, and it's real simple. So we'll open up Prep for Print here in Photoshop, and the source directory is where we're going to. So we'll go to Computer. We go to this folder, and then we go down to, we passed it. So we're going to go to Your Work Files, and then we're going to go to Katie and Sean, and Completed Album Pages. We'll hit OK, and then the target directory will be that same. I usually do it to the same exact location. You can save it wherever you want to, but I usually just save it to the same one. So we'll go back to that same folder. And we'll do completed album pages again. We'll hit OK. Now you can, in this case, we're going to do a copy image. All PictoBook stuff is a copy image. And then we're going to export as a JPEG with a quality of 10. And then as an option for your clients, we could create a miniature version. So we'll just do it to show you. So for a client, we want something that's viewable but not something really high res. So we'll do 1,000 pixels. We won't add a separator line to show them where the center of the layout is. And when I'll just hit prep. And what Pixel Creator is going to do, it's going to open up each spread, and it's going to flatten the file, save a high-res JPEG version of it, and then it'll save a thumbnail version of it, and then it'll just go on to the next file until it's completed all 16 pages. Now, if we go over back into Bridge while this is working, in this completed album pages folder, we have a prints folder, and we have a thumbnails folder. So in the prints folder is where all the flattened high-res files will be sitting for you, and in the thumbnails folder is where all the thumbnail that are 1,000, these are all 1,000 pixels wide, that are automatically created for you. So it makes that process of getting the print-ready files for PictoBooks really simple. So back over here, these are all the high-res flattened files that once you get final approval, they'll be ready to go to PictoBooks for printing.
Well, thank you so very much.
So like I said, I have all this, I believe, recorded. So assuming my recording turns out, I'll post it for the web for you to download so you could refer back to it the next time you have to do an edit. But there is a lot of technical things that we did. But, you know, with these changes were pretty extensive changes. You know, some of those spreads we almost had to recreate all together. So swapping out an image is not that big a deal. But, you know, it's important to understand how these guideline tools work and, you know, how they help us lay things out so it looks really nice and professional and finished. So, but once you know, just like with your camera and your lighting and everything else you've learned in your photography business, you know, you pick it up a little at a time, and then, you know, once you know it, it's all second nature, you know. But hopefully that helps you out a little bit, and you'll have something to refer to the next time.
Okay, well, thank you so very much, and it was a tremendous help.
All right, no problem. If you have any more questions, give us a call back.
All right, thank you so very much.
All right, bye-bye.